Right now, somewhere on your property, there is likely a small mud structure tucked beneath an eave or pressed into a corner of your porch. Most people's first instinct is to knock it down. It looks like nothing more than dried dirt, a chore waiting for a putty knife and a few spare minutes. But inside that unassuming clump of mud lives a hunter so effective at eliminating one of North America's most feared spiders that many entomologists rank it among the best natural pest control agents you could ever host for free. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the structure you were about to remove might be the reason you aren't finding more black widows in your garage. That mud nest was built by a Mud Dauber, a solitary wasp found across nearly every region of North America. Several species construct these nests, including the black and yellow Mud Dauber, recognized for its smooth, lemon-sized cluster of mud cells, and the metallic blue Mud Dauber, which often skips construction altogether and simply moves into nests abandoned by other species. Unlike the wasps most people fear, Mud Daubers don't form colonies, don't answer to a queen, and don't have a workforce ready to defend a shared home. Each nest is the work of a single female, operating entirely alone, and that one fact changes everything about how this insect behaves. Before going further, let's clear up the biggest misconception standing between you and understanding what's actually happening on your wall. Misconception 1: all wasps are aggressive. This is exactly where Mud Daubers break the mold. Yellow jackets defend their colonies fiercely, and hornets will pursue anyone who threatens their nest. But a Mud Dauber has no colony to protect, so provoking a sting takes real, sustained effort. You could stand right beside an active nest and watch her work for as long as you liked without any meaningful risk. Her attention is entirely on her task, and that task has nothing to do with you. Misconception 2: the mud nest is her home. It isn't. A Mud Dauber never lives inside the structure she builds. She constructs it entirely for offspring she will never meet. Each tube functions as a nursery, a food store, and a sealed vault hand-formed from clay. And she moves on to the next one the moment it's complete. Misconception 3: this is just an unpleasant bug nest with nothing worth knowing about. In reality, what happens inside that tube is one of the more remarkable predator-prey relationships in the insect world. The Mud Dauber is a spider hunter. That is her entire biological function, and she performs it with striking precision. She tracks down spiders, some small, some surprisingly large, and delivers a precisely aimed sting to the nervous system that paralyzes without killing. This isn't a crude general-purpose venom. It's a targeted strike that disables movement while leaving the rest of the spider's body functioning. The spider remains alive but immobile, its tissue staying fresh for weeks while it waits inside the mud chamber. She packs spider after spider into a single tube this way, often returning multiple times in a day, then lays a single egg on top of the last spider and seals the chamber with a fresh layer of mud. When the larva hatches, it finds a sealed chamber stocked with a living food supply, consuming the freshest spider first and working through the rest until it's ready to pupate, eventually chewing its way out through the mud seal as a fully formed adult weeks later. If you think that's impressive, wait until you hear which spider this wasp targets above all others. Researchers studying Mud Dauber prey have found something striking. The blue Mud Dauber shows a strong, well-documented preference for black widow spiders, particularly the southern black widow. Across studies conducted in multiple states, black widows accounted for a significant share of the prey found in blue Mud Dauber nests, with some nests containing almost exclusively black widow specimens. A single blue Mud Dauber can eliminate a substantial number of black widows from one area over the course of a single nesting season, and her hunting technique is almost too clever to believe. When a black widow or another web-building spider sits safely at the center of its web, the Mud Dauber lands carefully at the edge, avoiding entanglement, and plucks the silk strands to mimic the vibration of trapped prey. The spider, expecting an easy meal, rushes toward what it believes is dinner, only to meet a paralyzing sting instead. The hunter turns the spider's own instincts against it, then carries the paralyzed prey back to the nest to feed a larva that hasn't even hatched yet. Here's another notable detail: the blue Mud Dauber is something of an opportunist. Rather than building a nest from scratch, she often reuses old nests abandoned by the black and yellow Mud Dauber, carrying water to soften and recondition the dried mud before restocking it with her own prey. It's a small detail, but it means the structure on your wall may have changed hands more than once. quietly hosting different generations of spider hunters over the years without your ever noticing. So what does this actually mean for your garage, your porch, or the dark corners of your shed, exactly the places black widows tend to hide? It means the mud dauber isn't a passive presence in your yard. She's carrying out targeted pest control on the one spider species that poses a genuine medical risk to your household. And she's doing it in precisely the locations where no spray reaches reliably and no trap works as precisely. She doesn't just kill black widows, she removes them entirely, one at a time, storing them elsewhere out of your house. Sealed inside a tube you are about to scrape off the wall. One more thing worth knowing, if you ever come across an old, abandoned nest and decide to open it out of curiosity, depending on the species and how long it's been sealed, you may find dozens of preserved spiders inside, dried and mummified by time, some still holding the exact position they were in when the venom took hold. It's an eerie kind of record, a preserved snapshot of what was living in the cracks and corners of your property, cataloged with more precision than any human survey could manage. So here's the big picture. The mud nest on your wall isn't an eyesore, and it isn't a problem waiting to be cleaned up. It's a solution, a small, hand-built structure quietly stocked with one of the few natural predators equipped to hunt down black widow spiders in exactly the places they prefer to hide. If the nest is active and if you see a wasp coming and going with mud or a paralyzed spider, the right move is to leave it alone. She'll complete her work within a single season, seal the final tube, and move on without expanding or returning to the nest. If the nest appears dry, sealed, and abandoned, it can be left in place. Since the empty tubes often shelter other beneficial insects, or removed later in winter once you're confident nothing remains inside. Here's something worth sitting with. For generations, we've scraped mud nests off our walls without ever asking what was inside them, unknowingly dismantling a process that has quietly protected homes far longer than most of us realize, all because a small clump of mud looked like nothing more than dirt in need of cleaning. The next time you notice one of these structures forming in a corner of your porch, resist the urge to knock it down. It's very likely doing exactly what you'd want done anyway, hunting the one spider you'd never want to find in your garage, and doing it for free. One paralyzed black widow at a time, without a single chemical, spray, or trap involved. If this changed the way you look at the mud clump you've been meaning to scrape off your wall, subscribe. That's exactly what this channel is about, the hidden truth behind the things you walk past every day. And drop a comment below, have you ever opened one of these nests and found what was inside? I read every single one.